ready to finally make peace with your pillow. Today we're diving into Say Goodnight to Insomnia. And this isn't just some fluffy self-help book. This one promises to actually turn you into what the author calls a normal sleeper.
And believe me, as someone who's spent years researching sleep, that word normal is like music to my ears.
Right, because who hasn't been there those nights where sleep feels like a distant galaxy? But this book, it goes straight for the jugular. It starts with this crazy stat. Insomnia affects like half of us. Half. We're talking epidemic levels here.
Absolutely. It's everywhere, but no one seems to talk about it, you know?
It's like this silent struggle so many of us are going through.
Exactly. Like you go to the doctor for a checkup and you might mention trouble sleeping, but it's rarely taken as seriously as other health concerns.
It's so true.
Mhm.
And the author, by the way, is a researcher at Harvard Medical School. He gets that frustration firsthand. He actually battled insomnia himself, which is what fueled his research.
Oh, wow. So he's speaking from both a personal and a scientific perspective then.
Absolutely. This isn't just some theory he came up with. This comes from years of struggling with sleep himself, and then digging into the science to figure out what actually works.
That makes a lot of sense because one of the first things that struck me about the book is how it tackles this whole quick fix mentality. You know, like popping melatonin like it's candy.
Oh yeah, everyone's on the melatonin train these days. It's natural, so it must be harmless, right?
Well, not so fast. The book actually dives deep into the science of melatonin and shows how long-term use can actually backfire, like messing up your natural sleep-wake cycle. Not exactly a recipe for restful nights.
Okay, so no more raiding the vitamin aisle thinking I've found the magic cure-all. But if quick fixes aren't the answer, what is? What's the book's big solution?
The core idea here is that insomnia, in most cases, is learned.
Wait, learned. You're telling me it's not just my dad's bad sleep genes haunting me every night?
It's not about being cursed with bad sleep DNA. It's about the patterns we develop, the thoughts we have around sleep, and how all of that gets wired into our brains over time.
Okay, hold on. So you're saying I haven't just inherited my family's inability to fall asleep before midnight. There's hope for me.
Absolutely. And this is the empowering part. Because if insomnia is learned, it can be unlearned. The book even uses the term retraining. You're basically rewiring those neural pathways that have gotten stuck in a loop of sleeplessness.
I love that retraining your brain for better sleep.
It's brilliant, really, because instead of just trying to mask the problem with earplugs or sleeping pills, you're addressing the root cause, those underlying habits and thought patterns that are keeping you awake.
Right. It's like instead of just putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg, you're actually setting the bone and letting it heal properly.
Exactly. And speaking of things we often use as band-aids, the book doesn't shy away from tackling medication.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear his take on sleeping pills.
He's very clear about the potential downsides, especially with long-term use. You know how they can create dependency and actually worsen insomnia in the long run?
That makes sense. It's like using duct tape to fix a leaky faucet, a temporary fix that makes the problem worse.
A perfect analogy, and this is where Say Goodnight to Insomnia takes a completely different approach. It's about understanding the science of sleep and then using that knowledge to create lasting change.
So instead of reaching for a pill, you're reaching for knowledge and using that to empower yourself.
Precisely. Now, one of the most intriguing things about this book is the author's background. So not only is he a top sleep researcher at Harvard, he's also spent years studying mind-body techniques, even working with, wait for it, Tibetan monks.
Tibetan monks. Okay, you've officially piqued my interest. I'm picturing monks meditating on mountaintops, radiating tranquility, probably falling asleep the second their heads hit those silk cushions.
What's the connection to insomnia? Well, the author was fascinated by their ability to control their body temperature through meditation. There's actually a specific technique they use called jitamo, where they generate internal heat. Can you believe that?
Oh, wait, hold on. They can control their body temperature with their minds. I can barely control my snack cravings at night. This is incredible.
I know, right? And while the book doesn't promise you'll be drawing wet sheets with your mind anytime soon, it does highlight the incredible power our minds have over our physical states, including sleep.
So there's a lot more to this whole sleep thing than just counting sheep and hoping for the best.
Exactly. It's about understanding that our minds aren't passive observers in this process. They play an active role in shaping our sleep and ultimately our overall well-being.
This is blowing my mind a little, I have to admit. So how do we tap into this mind-body connection to actually get some decent sleep? Because, frankly, I'm all ears at this point.
Well, he lays out this really clear 6-week plan. It's like a roadmap to retraining your brain and body for better sleep.
Okay, a roadmap. I like it. So what are some of the key stops along this sleep-seeking journey?
Each week tackles a different piece of the puzzle. Like week 1, that's all about setting up your sleep sanctuary.
Sleep sanctuary. Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's all about optimizing your sleep environment. Light, temperature, noise, all those things that can make or break a good night's sleep.
So basically creating the ultimate cozy cave for your brain to unwind in.
Exactly. Then week 2 dives into the power of cognitive techniques.
Ah, so this is where we start rewiring those negative thought patterns we were talking about.
You got it. The book introduces things like cognitive restructuring. It helps you identify and then challenge those irrational thoughts that keep you up at night.
So instead of lying there thinking, I'm never going to fall asleep, which is, let's be honest, my usual MO, you learn to reframe it to something more, well, hopeful.
Exactly. For example, instead of that, I'm never going to fall asleep thought, you might try shifting it to, it might take a little while, but my body knows how to sleep. It'll happen.
I can see how that shift in perspective alone could make a big difference. Instead of working myself up into a frenzy, it's about being more accepting of the process, being patient with myself.
Exactly. And the book doesn't just throw these concepts at you, it gives you actual exercises to put them into practice.
Okay, good, because I'm all about actionable advice. What else is on this sleep training syllabus?
Week 3 explores the connection between sunlight and sleep.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm a bit skeptical about this one. As someone who basically lives in a cave of blackout curtains, I'm not exactly what you'd call a sun worshiper. How important is sunlight, really?
I get it, but the science is actually pretty fascinating. Exposure to sunlight, especially in the morning, helps regulate your circadian rhythm, your internal clock.
So that whole rise and shine thing isn't just some motivational mumbo-jumbo.
Nope, it's legit. Even a short walk outside can make a big difference. And the book even talks about light therapy, which can be super helpful for people who struggle with seasonal affective disorder or don't have access to a lot of natural light.
The more you know, right? Okay, so we've got our sleep sanctuary, we're working on our thoughts, getting a little sunshine. What else?
Well, the book dedicates a whole week to stress management and the power of the relaxation response.
Ah, yes, stress, the insomnia's best friend, or should I say, worst enemy.
Definitely the worst enemy. But the book goes beyond the usual just relax advice, which, let's be honest, is about as helpful as telling someone to just fall asleep.
Right, like how exactly am I supposed to do that when my brain's in overdrive?
Exactly. So the book actually teaches you how to activate your body's natural relaxation response. And the author would know he literally wrote his doctoral dissertation on it.
Okay, now that's impressive. So this guy's not messing around. He's bringing the PhD level knowledge here.
He's the real deal. And what's so cool is that the relaxation response isn't just some vague idea. It's a measurable physiological state. The book teaches techniques like mindfulness, deep breathing, even progressive muscle relaxation, all designed to calm your nervous system and counteract those stress hormones that are keeping you up at night.
It's like hitting the reset button on your brain, giving it a break from all that tension.
Exactly. And the best part is, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. The book offers a whole toolbox of techniques, so you can experiment and find what works best for you.
I love that. It's not about following some rigid set of rules. It's about figuring out what your body responds to.
Exactly. Now, another thing I love about this book is that it debunks a lot of those common sleep myths.
Oh, like what? Spill the tea.
For example, that whole "you need 8 hours of sleep" thing. The book argues that it's not a magic number that applies to everyone.
Wait, really? So all those years of feeling guilty for not hitting that magic 8-hour mark were for nothing?
It's not about hitting a specific number, it's about figuring out what feels right for you. Some people naturally thrive on 7 hours, others need closer to 9.
That's such a relief to hear. So it's all about honoring your own internal sleep clock, not some arbitrary number.
Absolutely. And another myth the book tackles is the idea that napping is bad for you.
Oh no, don't tell me that. I'm a huge believer in the power of the power nap.
You're in good company. The book actually advocates for strategic napping to boost alertness and improve mood.
I knew it. I've been telling my boss for years that my afternoon naps are basically a productivity hack.
It's all about timing. You want to make sure those naps don't interfere with your nighttime sleep.
Right, strategic napping, got it. So we're not talking about falling asleep at your desk in the middle of the day.
Definitely not. But a well-timed nap can work wonders. And speaking of sleep routines, remember Larry, the lawyer we mentioned earlier?
Yeah, Larry. The guy who thought law school had permanently scarred his sleep cycle for life.
Exactly. Well, his story is the perfect example of how powerful this book can be. He was convinced he was destined to be a 4 hours a night kind of guy.
Well, was he able to turn things around?
Oh, absolutely. Larry's story is like a walking advertisement for this book. He went from those brutal 4 hour nights to consistently getting 7 hours of solid sleep.
Wow, from 4 to 7, that's incredible.
Right. And it just goes to show you what's possible when you start treating sleep as a priority. It's not just something you squeeze in when you can, it's fundamental.
It's like we put so much effort into eating healthy and exercising, but then we neglect sleep, even though it's just as crucial for our well-being.
Exactly. And that's what I love about this book. It really drives that point home. It's not just about logging more hours, it's about waking up feeling refreshed, energized, ready to tackle your day.
It's about feeling good, both mentally and physically,
Mhm.
feeling like you're actually rested and recharged, not dragging yourself through the day.
Precisely. It's about improving your overall quality of life, and sleep is such a huge part of that.
It's funny, we tend to compartmentalize things, like sleep is this thing we do at night and then it's over.
Hmm.
But this book really highlights how interconnected sleep is with everything else in our lives.
It affects everything: our mood, our energy, our focus, even our relationships.
Totally. Like, if I'm sleep deprived, I'm not exactly the most pleasant person to be around, let's be honest.
It's true for all of us, and that's why this whole person approach that the book advocates for is so refreshing.
It's not just about slapping a Band-Aid on the symptoms of insomnia. It's about looking at the bigger picture, understanding all the factors that contribute to good sleep.
Yes, your mindset, your habits, your environment, it all plays a role.
It's about giving yourself permission to prioritize sleep and creating a sustainable routine that actually supports your well-being.
And the best part is, this book gives you the tools and the knowledge to actually make those changes.
Exactly. It's not just some theoretical mumbo-jumbo. It's full of practical strategies and techniques that you can start using tonight. So no more excuses, right? Time to stop hitting that snooze button on good sleep.
I love that. No more snooze button on good sleep. It's time to reclaim your nights, reclaim your energy, reclaim your life.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, for everyone listening who's ready to finally say goodnight to insomnia, what's one small step you can take tonight to start improving your sleep? It could be something as simple as dimming the lights an hour before bed, trying a quick meditation, or even just committing to a consistent sleep schedule.
Those small changes can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. So make that commitment to yourself. You deserve a good night's sleep. Until next time, happy sleeping.